We start this third making of video on maybe not the most happy of moments. Oddgrub has just killed his friend, and hopefully the audience is sad about that. And so begins Oddgrub's redemption, which starts with him realising what he's done. The video is split into separate scenes, but as well as that there are mini stories, this third making of video starting with the third. We've had the fun bit, we've built the characters up, and now it's time to put a plan into action as Oddgrub sets out to meet Lydia again. But first I've got to explain why he wants to do that. He has, after all, just killed her. It seems like a bit of a U-turn for him to immediately want to see her again, doesn't it? Hence the regret sequence. It's pretty much a standard fight scene, but without any sound effects, with sad music, and with the colour saturation halved. Because without Lydia, Oddgrub's only half of what he used to be, or something deep like that, I don't care. Oddgrub's an impulsive and aggressive character, so it lets him kill first and ask questions later. That's my excuse for this U-turn in a single short sequence. Note how Oddgrub's baring his teeth. I didn't realise until making this video that characters in Skyrim do this when there are enemies nearby. Seems there's a civilian somewhere left alive, cowering in a corner somewhere. I don't blame him. I couldn't believe my luck when I found these audio files for Lydia. I'm sure the makers of Skyrim had to be in on the joke when recording stuff like Unsheathed Weapon, and I thank them for it. And although this was meant to be an emotional, nostalgic scene, there's always room for a few dick jokes. Also note how Oddgrub's on the left of the screen and Lydia's always on the right. I did this deliberately, but there wasn't any further thought behind it. I'm sure my media studies teacher would be able to think up something though. Oddgrub spends a lot of time standing still while I narrate the story, so much so that I worried it would become something of a dank meme. But looking at the final video, I think I get away with it, what with how fast-paced so much of the video is. These slower parts almost serve as welcome breathers to let the viewer catch up with the story, which is something that Game of Thrones Season 8 failed to do. I wonder if this kind of narrated story will become more popular, not just in video games but in regular media as well. When I think about it, Skyrim's very limiting with the camera angles and character possibilities it offers compared to, say, what mainstream movies can achieve with actors and a 9-figure budget. But being able to talk over the whole thing is nearly cheating. I can make up whatever I need to enable the story to happen. I'm pretty much a D&D dungeon master at this point. I know you're always meant to show rather than tell, but in a way, I think me narrating it leaves more to the viewer's imagination when it comes to how they perceive Oddgrub. It's a bit like with older Final Fantasy games when it's all text and you never hear what the characters actually sound like. It doesn't matter, does it? In fact, I kind of prefer the mystery. What does Vivi sound like? What about Quinna? And can it possibly ever live up to how I think he should sound in my head? I've always pictured him as kind of like Mr. Blobby. Now this bit is a nice callback to the first Oddgrub video. Back then it was a montage showing how to make an OP character by combining crafting systems. But here it's a plan to see Lydia again, since she's conveniently a Nord and will probably deserve to go to Sovngarde after her death. But of course that doesn't happen because I'm a horrible person. Capturing a dragon is one of the more memorable bits of Skyrim's main storyline. It's utterly ridiculous and buggy, but that's what an Oddgrub video needs. I rehearsed this a few times just to get the right camera angles. I love how oblivious this guard here is to the whole thing. Must suck to be an NPC who exists only to die. Lydia would know. I think Oddgrub hitting the dragon here was what resulted in the bug where he attacks everybody after this sequence. I have since been told that you don't interrogate somebody by hitting them over the head with the sword. I think it's funny that the NPCs know better than anybody else here, but I have nothing else to say about it, so I'll just skip this dragon fight. In short, the game bugs out and the quest becomes impossible to complete. The Oddgrub series has always been about Oddgrub battling the bugs and exploits in Skyrim, but this one really was game breaking. But how could I keep this in while still progressing with the story? Yep, third time in 20 minutes that it was all a dream. This scene required 2 mods and 1 cheat, believe it or not. A mod to show Oddgrub waking up from his bed, another mod to replace the 4-poster bed with another that didn't get in the way of the camera angles, and a cheat to let me steal all of the Jarl's clothing. I don't think anybody noticed that this bed changed into a different design from when we saw it earlier on. Ironically, I lost sleep over what to do about this bed. So yeah, heavily modded scene all just to tell a simple joke. But there are serious implications about this as well. This scene sets a dangerous precedent if I can get Oddgrub out of game-breaking scenarios by making it all a dream. Maybe killing Lydia was all just a dream. Introducing what's effectively time travel into the Oddgrub video can lead to all kinds of problems with the story, and what can and should be taken seriously. Like, I can't be alone in being frustrated with the stuff in the Harry Potter series. Hermione is given the ability to time travel, so uses it to attend more classes. Harry Potter is given liquid luck, something that makes him effectively a god. You'd think he should have gone into battle with Voldemort with dozens of these vials, wouldn't you? Also, the second Fantastic Beasts movie was the worst movie I've ever watched. I don't understand how a movie can be so complicated, yet so boring at the same time. Its only saving grace was its excellent poster, which I've got 2 of in my room. But I don't understand where the series can go from here. I think they've royally messed it up, and don't understand what audience will still be interested in any future videos. I certainly won't be. I'm sorry, this making of series also doubles up as some kind of therapy session for me. Let's get back to Oddgrub again. So, the dragon glitch was all a dream, he wakes up naked next to the Jarl of Whiterun, they capture the dragon, and Oddgrub rides off into the sunrise. This is the logical point to split the video in 2. I thought long and hard about it. It would have been awesome to have 2 Oddgrub videos for the price of 1. Both would have been about the same length as the previous Oddgrub videos. It might have helped with audience retention, and it would definitely have resulted in more views. It made sense to end it here, but I didn't. I wanted to explore new YouTube video territory. Anything beyond 20 minutes long for me is kind of exciting, so to have a 40-minute long epic on my YouTube channel was something I desired very deeply. I also thought that this first half was important in building up the characters and story, so if somebody started on the second half first, they'd be all like, "Who's Lydia? What's he doing? Why is he here?" And they'd simply dislike the video and leave. And last, there are a few flaws with this story, like the fact that Lydia isn't in Sovngarde, which I thought more people would pick up on if I released the second half at a later date. So for those reasons, the video remained as a single 40-minute long release. When I started work on Oddgrub 3, I had high hopes for Skuldafn. I saw it as the one place that could possibly one-up the finale of Oddgrub 2, especially at sunrise. I think this whole section looks excellent, but because of the story, it ends up not being an important sequence. I cut this segment back and back. What you see here is far shorter and far more condensed than I had initially planned for. Legendary difficulty worked against me here. It takes so many hits to kill each enemy that it would kind of be boring to show the whole fight. But because I cut it, it makes these enemies seem just as weak as any of the other people Oddgrub fights. They aren't. Deathlords are tough things. At least I kept the bashing bit as he finally drops one of them down the staircase, which is the only bit of this fighting montage that I care about. And then, after the last fight against the Guardian, Oddgrub goes to Sovngarde. I noticed that there were 2 dragons sat about that I think I was supposed to fight, but I guess they got glitched and broken in some way. I'm fine with that, I just want to get on with the story. Oddgrub goes to Sovngarde twice. Once to finish the main quest, and the other when he dies. It sounds like the visits should be done in that order, but for a while I had it the other way around, which worked better for some parts of the story, but not others. You'll have to use your imagination here. Imagine that the Ebony Warrior killed Oddgrub earlier in the video, like just after he had tossed her gauntlets off the mountain. Oddgrub's first visit to Sovngarde would end with him killing everybody there to escape again. He could then find Lydia's gauntlets on the mountain and together fight one last time to defeat the Ebony Warrior, proving Lydia's value to Oddgrub, even if she was just a pair of gauntlets. Having turned good and sentimental, he could then voluntarily go to Sovngarde later to save Skyrim from Alduin, and also to drop Lydia's gauntlets off because he wants to give her story a happy ending. Had I chosen the trips to Sovngarde to be in this order, it would have resulted in a completely different second half to this video. Ultimately I didn't do this, and I'm happy with the way the video turned out. But there are some bits in Oddgrub 3 that are a bit questionable as a result. Like how when Oddgrub decides to be good, the first thing he chooses to do is to massacre everybody in Sovngarde. Losing the battle where he's wearing Lydia's gauntlets is anticlimactic. And completing the main quest of Skyrim is no longer important to the story, but is still something I have to do, so I do it, but as quickly as I can. I love the camera angles here. With hindsight, I think I subconsciously ripped off the Bridge of Casa Doom from Lord of the Rings. As if that's such a bad thing. And here's Oddgrub, arriving at the Hall of Valor and discovering that Lydia isn't there. I've managed to slip this song into all 3 Oddgrub videos. It's always for when he's searching for something, be it dragons, legendary dragons, or Lydia. Nice tune. Here's how to make an Oddgrub video. Think up 2 or 3 cool sequences. For this video it was Lydia's death, the Ebony Warrior's fight, and the Sovngarde slaughter. Next, think up the best possible ending that can result from all those things. And then you need to gradually flesh out all the bits in between. It's important not to be too specific or to become too attached when thinking up ideas for the video, since you've got to be able to adapt it for whatever happens between now and actually recording it. Some bits you think will work may not, and other ideas you didn't think up may suddenly come to you. That beheading scene in the second Oddgrub video was something I thought up as I was recording it, for example. But to reveal where Lydia was with the shot of the gauntlets on the mountain was a pivotal reveal moment that I knew I'd want to feature, and that I visualised in my head early on, plus black gauntlets on a white backdrop. I'm sure that's symbolic of something as well. It says so much without having to say anything at all, and it's an abrupt wake-up call for the viewer that this video might not have such a happy ending. No explanation needed for how he got out of Sovngarde, just a white fade and he's back into the real world. Some effective time saving right there. And that's the end of the third mini-story in this Oddgrub video. He has made a big mistake. He's feeling pretty bad about it all, and now I've got to somehow get him up to the top of this mountain here to carry on with the story. And I better go on with it soon. YouTube's audience retention ratings are at stake here. I know I joke about it a lot in this video, about all the deeper meaning and pretentious ways that seemingly simple scenes from the Oddgrub video can be interpreted, but it is surprising what can go on in your mind if, instead of spending a few days on a video, you stretch it to several months and are particularly excited to make it. This Oddgrub project did become my go-to thing to think about when I was queuing in a shop or lying awake at night. I don't think I've been so excited about a project since I used to make games back in secondary school, and I never finished them. I hope this making of series motivates people to embark on similar projects of their own. It's easy to endlessly browse the internet or to turn on a Netflix series, but there's something far more rewarding about investing time into a larger project, and knowing that long after memories of that Netflix binge have faded, you'll still fondly remember all that time you spent on that dream project of yours.